I'm doing my video now. I'm doing my video now. Good morning, everyone, and welcome to today's Daily Word. It is Thursday. Glad you could join me for our time together and our conversation around Scripture and what it means for us and how we live our lives together. So, as always, I'm grateful that you would join me and carve out time to be with me, your precious day, and how much time we all have, that you choose to do that, and that you offer greetings when you sign in. So I'm always grateful and thankful that we have continued our journey together. Today is daily word number 918 as we continue together. So I want to make sure to invite you for worship on Sunday. We gather, of course, at 10:15. It is the first Sunday of the month, so we're sharing communion. We have some baptisms, 6 of them actually, and we have coffee hour. We have a full day. I don't know if there's going to be time for a sermon on Sunday, which isn't a horrible thing, I suppose, for some of you. So anyway, join us at 10:15, either in person, of course, or on Facebook Live. And just a reminder that the week of June 9th, we will be on mission trip. And so there will not be a daily word that week of June 9th, but I'll remind you of that as we get closer. So, daily word number 918. I've chosen just a couple of verses from Psalm 144. I commend it to you to read the entire psalm. I think you will find it good and enlightening. Um, but these couple of words from Psalm 144. Lord, what are human beings that you care for them? Mere, mere mortals that you think of them. They are like a breath. Their days are like a fleeting shadow. Got to thinking about what this means in the light of our lives. And from me, hearing from me, that I have my share of funerals and interments and helping folks at the end of their lives to walk them home. I've had my fair share of them in recent weeks, and frankly, I have 2 more to come. I have one next Thursday, and I have one. Well, we haven't scheduled it yet because of the monument company trying to figure out how all that works. Um, but these people whose lives I've had to share in, they've all been older. They've all lived great long lives, but I think they would agree in conversations with me that the length of their years at times seemed like a fleeting shadow. It went really quickly. But when we back up from all of that, there is this conversation, of course, that we have human beings that God cares for them, mortals that God thinks of them. I think that's an astounding thing, and often I'm guessing that humbles us. And Augustine of Hippo wrote these words: the way to Christ is first through humility, second through humility, and third through humility. If humility, he says, doesn't precede and accompany and follow every good work that we do, if it is not before us to focus on, and if it is not beside us to lean upon, if it is not behind us to fence us in, pride will wrench from our hand any good deed we do at the very moment we do it. And it's this reminder for us that I think we're called to live with. We are mere mortals. Our scope of the earth lasts a really short time, but God cares for us, and God thinks of us, and God, as we talked about yesterday, that scripture yesterday was so powerful. That thing I use as a benediction, that reminder that God's name is written on us. We are God's. The other day, um, we were with the boys, and someone had their Woody doll, And I turned it over. And if you've seen the movie Toy Story, if you turn over the Woody toy, it has Andy written on his boot. So I turned it over, and the way that it was constructed, it didn't have it. But I thought about that. If you turn over, if you look at your foot, it has God's name written on it. Even though our days are like a breath and a fleeting shadow, it's God who sustains us and keeps us and shapes us and molds us and helps us to live our lives in really good and powerful ways. And we have to be humble, right? We have to lean upon this humility so that God can work through us and in us. And I think that's such an important thing for us. And I think somehow we've lost that in our relationships with each other. We don't always focus on the right things. We find ways to keep separate from each other when really our humility should bind us together in powerful ways. And so I think that's important for us to remember as we live our lives and just to think about in all the things that we go through. So, I'm going to have some things coming up that I have to deal with, and then getting ready for a mission trip in another week or so, and the importance of that, and we are just always amazed at the difference that we can make in someone's life. They're not always thrilled that we're on their property. They need help. They're not always thrilled that we're there. But in the end, because I think we're humble, because I think we simply try to make things better for the person by fixing their porch or building a ramp or whatever it is, that they sense that in us. And then eventually, they come out to thank us. And so we should all live our lives in that humble kind of way, so that every good deed that we do comes from the hand of God. So it's this reminder as we live our lives today. Lord, we're human beings, us, you and I, that you care for us. Mere mortals that you think of us. We are like a breath. Our days are like a fleeting shadow. But in the midst of it all, God is present with us. So that's our word for today. Thanks for joining me for our time together as we continue this journey together. As always, know of God's love that surrounds you, know of my love for you, and I look forward to seeing you tomorrow morning at 10 o'clock. Have a great day.